Alright, well, hopefully you can hear me. I had to turn the fan on. I'm starting to perspirate a little bit. So what I've done is I put the neck in my boiling pot of water. The reason why is that this was still solid as a rock. It was still frozen. So you can't, it's pretty hard to get this kind of stuff off when it's like that. So I left it in there for a good, 20 minutes. And now it's thawed out enough I can start taking the meat off of this right here. We also need to detach the lower jaw here. So I'm going to start showing you what I do. It's fairly simple through here. You just want to, cut through, and you're going to run into the back of the skull and the vertebrae, and then you want to cut through the esophagus here. Get to that point right there. If I can turn this around. And I'm just going to start taking some of the meat off here. Makes it a lot easier to see what I'm doing anyway. If this was already been thawed out, I would have already had this off, and it made it quite a bit easier on me, because there's a way to get back in here and get to the back of the spine that connects to the back of your head, but unfortunately that's going to be hard to see the way it is. It's still a little frozen in there, but you get this meat off of it, I should be able to get to it easily. So I'm going to start taking some of this off. There we go. Trish. Alright. Love messing with frozen stuff. Hopefully I got enough room in here to get this off. Alright, next thing. I'm going to remove some of this cheek meat. Make sure you pay attention to your hands around when you're doing stuff like this. Alright, so I bet you're just shaking and beat hell, ain't you? So what I'm doing is I cut into the cheek meat here, and I'm got to kind of go up into the eyeball socket a little bit, because I want to pull this. Ooh, yeah, look there. I'm pulling this jaw backwards, and that whole thing is going to come off. This makes it a lot easier, by the way, than most any other ways I've found anyway. Now, we'll come in here, beside the tongue, cut down on the inside of the jaw. This seems like a lot of process. Once you get used to it and you know what you're doing, it's really not that big a deal. You know, like cutting this out here, I mean, it's really not that big a deal. Old man, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, but he's a little squeamish when it comes to this kind of stuff. And understandably, you know, not everybody can do this, but if you're wanting to get into taxidermy, you might as well learn to get your hands dirty here. Be familiar with your knife. That's definitely one thing I can take you to do. Want this ready to go on. Right, there we go. Alright, so we're not going to need any of that. I'm surprised I got that done with it still being frozen the way it was. So, to do a European mount, that's basically all you need. Cut a little bit more. This off. That's still frozen. I'll just take more off. Alright, what I like to do when I get to this point here is right here on the roof of the mouth, I like to cut down like this and split that, because once this gets in boiling water and this gets hot, the roof of the mouth likes to draw up and shrink, and when it does, it wants to pull the bones out that are away from this. So I do it like this, and what will happen is this will all kind of like shrink up into like bacon or something. Alright, so anyway, this is ready to go into the pot after I clean it up a little bit, and then we'll boil it for an hour, and then I'll come in back here. This is where the spinal cord ended, and this is where the brain matter is, starting right here. I will take a tool and mush it up, and then after that put it back in there, and most of that brain matter actually comes out on its own. So alright, well, I'm going to get to the next step here, and I will show you here in just a second. Alright, well, got my mess cleaned up. Now I don't like a dirty shop, so we're going to take this over here. Here's another project I got to do. Right now we're doing this. So I'm going to bring the deer over here and put him in the water. Trying to get it up to boiling again. I had it off while I was messing with him, but got him back on, so I'm gonna let him sit in there for about an hour, and then I'll get back with you when that hour's up, and I'll show you the next process. Alright, now that we're at this point, it's been in here for over an hour. I'm gonna top it off with water. Sometimes you gotta do that every now and then, but I'm gonna show you what you gotta do here. This is the back of the spinal cord that attaches to the back, the back of your head, and this is the brain matter that's in there. And I have to use this tool here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it has a little hook at the end. So I use that to get in here and break up that brain matter. I know this is extremely gross, but this is part of it. If you want to do a European mount, that's what you got to do. Now, you can only get so much of this broke up for now, and you'll be able to do a lot more here in a little bit. But you want to at least get it started now. If you look, remember when I told you that you needed to cut down this? See how much easier that is to come off? And if we wouldn't have done that, what happened is right here, these little cracks, nasal part of the nose, or whatever you want to call that, this the roof of the mouth would shrink up, and it can pull the teeth out, it can pull those out. Sometimes these do come out, they get loose and they come out, and if they do, it's not the end of the world. To save them back, and then you'll be able to glue them back into place. Which that come to that time. So yeah, I see you're very interested, ain't you boy? So you can go ahead and get some of the meat off that you can. Just help out in the long run, because you gotta be taking all this stuff out anyway. But anyway, okay, we can put her back in there, and I let it sit for about another hour. All right, well, I put it in there for a little bit longer. Now I'm going to concentrate on getting some of this stuff off of it. You know, there's just little pieces of flesh and stuff like that that needs to come off, and it's really intricate stuff, so you just kind of have to work with it. It's time consuming, you know, to kind of, you want to get around the bases real good. Rosettes. If you're getting into taxidermy, you need to know that phrase. But anyway, yeah, I mean, right now it's just kind of like fine cleaning. You want to get, you know, up here in the gums, on both sides, in and out. I don't know if you see that or not, but there's usually some yucky stuff in there that just come out of there. See, that's gross. The idea is just to get every piece of meat off this. I still got a bunch of stuff in here that needs to come out. See, all this meat, you gotta, you know, come in and get all this meat out. Now that we've done what we've done, it should be fairly easy. Once I get as much as I can by hand, I have it's a bird flesher actually. It's made for fleshing, you know, bird hides to do, you know, bird mounts and stuff like that. And I use it for this to get some of the really hard to get meat back in here that I can't get to with my hand. So once I get to that point, I think I'll turn you back on so you can see how I do that. And save you from having to watch this. You pretty much get the idea. You gotta get everything. So that's pretty much that. Let me turn you back on when I get to that point. Okay, this is what I do right here. Now this is cheating. You guys probably won't be able to do this, you know, unless you have a fleshing machine for a bird, which I do. But anyway, there's a little wire wheel on this. It's very fine, and it doesn't tear up the bird's hides. That's kind of what the purpose of this is. But since it's pretty fine, it actually does really good of pulling chunks of meat, you know, that are kind of like stuck in there out. So it actually kind of helps out when you're doing this. Now, like I said, you guys probably don't have one of these, and you're gonna have to do it all by hand. And I hate it for you, but I've been there, I've done it. But this is how I do this, and I can get them pretty clean. No, not over. But anyway, so that's what I do, is getting every little nook and cranny. I put this board up right here because meat just flies everywhere. Little shards of meat gets all over the garage, so I'll do my best to contain it. I guess I'll just go ahead and do this up and show you what it looks like when it's done. So I'll be right back with you. Alright, well, we've got it cleaned up about as good as you're going to get it. Inside the navel cavity, it needs to be at least that clean there. You need to be able to see all the way through it. As you can see, you need to get everything that's in there, everything that's in the eye sockets. There you go. Looking through there again. Inside the brain cavity needs to look like that. There's going to be a little, it's going to look like a ball attached to it, but what it is what holds the brain. I guess, I really don't know what it is. It goes from the brain to the sinus cavity, so whatever that is gets caught in there, and you kind of have to fish for it out. So you got to make sure you get it. So anyway, so we got the deer like this for now, and we're about to bleach it, and that's where I'm going to show you how to bleach. Alright, first thing you're going to do is, usually for one skull, I'm gonna get about 3 heaping scoops, maybe 4. Kind of eyeball it. At this point, you know, I kind of know exactly what it's going to take. I don't know. I think 3 is going to do it. Now, be careful not to breathe that stuff in, because that's powdered bleach right there. This is powdered bleach. This is 40% peroxide. Okay, and you can buy this stuff at like Sally's Beauty Supply, or you can actually buy it on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. It don't cost much. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, you know, about 3 scoops, and then you're going to pour this in here. And what you want is a consistency of kind of like a paste. So, you know, you're just going to have to kind of eyeball it, you know, unless you measure it out, which I don't take that time to do. I just eyeball it. I kind of know already what I want, so, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep stirring this up until it's, you know, pretty pasty, but yet still, you know, enough to smear all over that skull right there. It don't take but a second to stir this stuff in, and yeah. So this makes a bleaching agent, and I think women put this stuff in their hair. I don't know. It's hard telling what women do, but. Alright, so now that we've got it, I'm just going to start basically applying it, and I want to put it in pretty thick, like all in the nooks and crannies. You know, you're going to want to push that into it. You want every nook and cranny filled as much as you can get it with this bleaching stuff. And some people say, you know, leave it on just a couple hours. Me personally, I like to leave it on for at least, you know, 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes even overnight, depending on, you know, how dark the skull is. Sometimes the skulls can be a little darker. So this was not too bad. I would say, you know, about 6 hours I'll leave this on. Sometime tonight before I go to bed, I'll come out here and basically just wash this off. You know, with just regular water. You know, pour it over the top of it. And since the teeth are really dark, I'm going to kind of coat them a little bit. It won't bleach them all the way white, but it'll make them look a little nicer. Not so black. And the eyeballs, you want a big scoop. Throw in there. And you want to make sure not to get it on the antlers. And if you do, it's easy to wipe off. As long as you get it off, you know, before it's on there for hours at a time. You don't want that, because you will end up with a white spot on the antler. So, gotta watch out for the fumes too. They're a little strong. When you're getting inside the nasal cavity and stuff, you know, shove some of that stuff deep in there and try to get the sides as good as you can. You want everything coated really well. Even inside where the brain stem would go, you want to kind of shove some in there. Can you guys hear my chickens? I've got chicks behind us. Now if your nose piece fell off, you don't want to forget, you don't want to bleach them too. And make sure you look, you know, really thoroughly on these things, because you can miss a spot and really easily on these. I went back and checked on them before, missed a whole spot, and was like, holy cow. Alright, inside the nasal cavity, right through here, you're going to want to get that white too, so as far back as you can get it. Like I said, the thicker the better, but you don't want to use too much and then run low on what you got. So, all right, now I've got this. The way these go on, like this one's for this side here, this one is for this side here. So you definitely want to get, well, you really want to get all of it. Just go ahead and do what you can. This bleaching stuff, you can touch it, but you want to get it off your hands pretty quickly. It will bleach your fingers. And again, I should probably be wearing gloves, but I don't. Believe me, my wife gets on me. I'm just hard-headed that way, I suppose. So, yeah, get that in there real good. Get that, well, that smells well. There we go. This little piece too. Okay. So, alright, I'm going to wash my hands. I'll get back with you in just a second. Okay, well, I've got my mess cleaned up. I've got the deer bleaching, and for now all I can do is just wait until that's done, and then I'll be back out here in about 6 hours. Alright, it's day 2. Last night I came out and washed all the bleaching agent off of the skull, and I believe it turned out pretty good. Everything looks good on it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a little stand for it that I usually make for European mounts for clients. And I use old barn wood. And it don't take me but about 10 minutes to make one of these. It's, you know, no big deal, but it makes it look so much better when you're displaying the European mount. So, alright, I'm going to cut past this dead wood here. That should be good. Now flip it over, and then we'll cut another notch. And I give myself about good width right here. All right. Now what this little piece will do is hold this at an angle. So this will be on the back right here, or this is the backing. And this will fit right here like this, and then another board will come down like this at an angle. And you'll be able to screw these together, and it makes a nice little plaque for deer to sit on. So now I'm going to measure out 1 foot here, and then we'll have all of our pieces. Yeah, let's go 1.5. 12.5. There we go. I'm about to goof up. Alright. Level that back out. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to take these pieces into the garage here, and we're going to put them together. Alright, I thought it would be easier to set up this table and show you how to put this together. So this is the little wedge piece that we had cut, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-drill a couple holes here, and I'm going to get it away from that, or I can turn it around where I can be seen. Pre-drill a couple holes here. This is so the wood don't split when I drive nails or screws through it. I'm going to do that on this side going down, and then this side going down. And you put the screws on both sides. So. Alright. The reason why I do that with this one is because it's a littler piece and the cracks that are in the wood itself can split, and that's no good. So, and then as you can see, it's hotter than hell out, and I'm sweating profusely, but we're gonna get this thing done. All right, I'm gonna want it like that. So first screw's gonna go in right here. You just want to level it the way you like it. So this screw in. This All right. So there's that part, and then we will figure out how I'm gonna like it here. Now, like this. You want to watch how you do this. Pay attention, because you can be off just a little bit, and you can mess your stuff up here. Now, back down just a hair. Now, I'm come from behind, put a couple screws back here, which will line everything up. Right. Screw there. This side will be good to go. Come on now. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this hangs up on the wall like this. Your skull mount is placed on there, which I screw from the bottom. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. And then it hangs there, and it makes a nice little little shelf for it. Gives a little bit better presentation. So anyway, I've got a little bracket back here that I'll screw into this right here, and that's what will hold it up from the back. And then just a wall screw will hold it up in your house. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so I've just got the skull sitting here, but I just wanted to make sure that you pay attention when you set that skull up, that it's not, the back antler here is not going past this, because you know that would be up against your wall right there. So you just want to level it out, you know, as best as you can, and then you want to screw from the bottom into the roof of the mouth, right in there. So I'm going to show you what I've already pre-drilled the holes back under here. I don't know if you can see them, but I'm going to go ahead and run them screws up in there real quick, and then I'll show you after that. Hold down this antler. Okay, right through, right where I wanted it. Same thing with this. I'm gonna hold it down. And that went right where I wanted it. All right. So this is how I wanted it right here. If you look, see the screws went right into the roof of the mouth there. Okay, and that will hold that bad boy on there, and it ain't gonna go anywhere. So there you go. This is a completed European mount that I do. Normally I charge about $100 to do this. There's really not a lot of work to it. There's more sitting time than anything, which, you know, of course you can be doing other things. So as far as time wise, I would say total maybe 3 hours of doing any kind of actual physical work. So not too bad, you know. I enjoy doing this. Not a lot of people would, but it's just a passion of mine. I'm weird that way, I suppose. But there's your European mount, and I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, comment below, and I will see you on the next video.